What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. This is the segment on my channel where I go back through A24's entire catalog from the first film that they produced all the way up to when we get current. And today I am on film number 30. And this is crazy to think that I've been doing this for a little while. Have finally hit the 30th film in A24's catalog. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Remember. Remember is directed by Atom Egoyan. With the aid of a fellow Auschwitz survivor and a handwritten letter, an elderly man with dementia goes in search of the person responsible for the death of his family. So I'm completely unfamiliar with Atom Egoyan's work other than The Captive, which I watched this year for the first time, and that was my first exposure to any Atom Egoyan film. So I knew going into this movie that I was not going to get something straightforward, because when I watched Captive, it's very all over the place. The storytelling method is very different. The time jumps. I was like, okay, I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. And I actually really enjoyed this film. I know it was nominated for an Academy Award. I think it was even nominated for Best Picture. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's that good. The premise is a little absurd, and you kind of have to, in the back of your head, suspend your disbelief a little bit, thinking about a man like in his 80s with dementia trying to go across the country to find the person who murdered his family in Auschwitz is a pretty ridiculous concept to think that that would actually work out, because he's waking up somewhere every day not remembering who he is, relying on this letter in his coat pocket to remind him who he is. But once you get past all of that, the performances and the overall atmosphere of this film is fantastic. I think that it's a really immersive hour-and-a-half experience. I think Christopher Plummer, who plays our lead character, does a phenomenal job. We're introduced to him really early on in the film. The very first scene, he's in his room. He sees one of his wife's outfits in the corner of the room, and he starts to panic because he can't find her, and the nurse lets him know that she passed away a week ago. And so you're immediately shown that he has dementia. He can't remember who he is or what he's doing, but he remembers little things, like when his son comes in, he can remember who his kids are. And early on, you're introduced to one of his friends who is in the nursing home with him, who is bound to a wheelchair. You can tell he has a really hard time getting around. And they're talking, and one day he says, "Don't forget what you told me that you were going to do." And so he goes into his room, he has this envelope, and he opens it. There's a bunch of money in there, and there's this note essentially saying that he was a prisoner in Auschwitz and that his family was murdered by this specific person. And that before he dies, because the other guy can't get up and get around, that both of their families were murdered by this person. And he tells him that he's going under the alias of a different name, and that they found where he is. And so that he's going to go hunt down this person and kill them to avenge both of their families' deaths. And so what the movie is, he arrives to the first one and finds out that that's not the right person. I believe there's 3 or 4 men with the same name that they're going across the country trying to find the correct person who murdered their family. And it was a really interesting premise and idea for the movie. And the third act takes a really bonkers twist that I actually really respected. It kind of changes the trajectory of the whole film, and I love when movies go for it, especially in a very ridiculous way that sort of pays off in a way that you'd never imagine. And that's what I really appreciated about this film, is that it goes in a direction that I was just like, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe that Atom Egoyan went that direction with the film. And I think, the cinematography in this film is okay. There's nothing super spectacular about it, but I think what really makes the movie so engaging is Christopher Plummer gives such a great performance when you're watching him, because he plays this frail man who's been through so much, and it seems really easy to connect to his character and feel for his character, especially in these situations where the dementia takes hold and that he doesn't remember where he is, and you just feel bad for him. And then when the third act comes, I feel like his performance, because of the twist in the movie, really makes that punch even more impactful, and that was what was so impressive to me about this film. And I think it's just a really engaging hour and a half, and as far as A24's catalog goes, this is a film that I think is definitely worth giving a watch. Like I said, I don't think that it's perfect, but compared to some of the films in A24's catalog that I've watched, this one is definitely worth your time. So have you seen Remember? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely brilliant. I love small scale, intimate character drama, and this one kind of took a shift in a really insane way that I really appreciated. As always, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.